Have you ever been told that a daily walk is the absolute best thing you can do for your heart? For decades, it's been the gold standard advice given by doctors, friends, and family, a seemingly unassailable truth in the pantheon of health recommendations. It is a simple, accessible, and poetic prescription, conjuring images of brisk morning strolls and peaceful evening ambles. But what if that advice isn't just incomplete? What if for millions of people, it's secretly setting them up for failure, pain, and even risk? What if this one-size-fits-all solution is, in reality, a poor fit for the very people who need its benefits the most? If you are over 65, or if you've ever felt the sharp, grinding sting of joint pain in your knees or hips, the profound and heavy weight of fatigue that seems to settle deep within your bones, or the daily mounting frustration of limited mobility, then the next few minutes might just be the most important you'll spend all year. We are about to uncover a truth that many in the medical community are only now beginning to emphasize with the urgency it deserves. For many, walking is not the only or even the best path to a healthy heart. In fact, for a significant portion of the population, particularly those navigating the complexities of aging, chronic pain, or circulatory issues, it's a path that leads directly to more pain, increased inflammation, and profound discouragement. This creates a vicious cycle where the very activity prescribed for health becomes a source of suffering, leading to inactivity, which in turn worsens the underlying condition. This isn't just another list of exercises to be skimmed and forgotten. This is a lifeline, a message of hope and a practical guide for anyone who has ever felt trapped by their own body, for awaken, the hidden power of your second heart. Deep within the anatomy of your body, far from the familiar thrumming in your chest, lies a secret secondary heart that most people don't even know they have. It's not a cardiac organ in the traditional sense, but a powerful biomechanical system so critical to our survival and well-being that cardiologists and vascular specialists often refer to our calf muscles as the second heart. This is not a mere poetic turn of phrase. It is a description of a vital physiological function. This second heart resides not in your chest, but in your lower legs, specifically within the robust gastrocnemius and soleus muscles. Its primary role is to overcome the relentless downward pull of gravity. Your primary heart is an astonishingly powerful pump, but it faces a monumental task in circulating 5 to 6 liters of blood through tens of thousands of miles of blood vessels. The most difficult part of that journey is the return trip from the feet and lower legs back up to the chest. This is where the calf muscle pump comes into play. Every time these muscles contract, whether through walking, running, or even standing on your toes, they squeeze the deep veins embedded within them. This squeezing action powerfully pushes deoxygenated blood upwards, propelling it from one venous valve to the next, like a series of locks in a canal, ensuring a steady, efficient flow back toward the heart and lungs for reoxygenation. When we can't walk easily or frequently due to pain, fatigue, or balance issues, this vital pump action slows to a crawl, or in some cases, ceases almost entirely. This leaves our primary heart to struggle alone, fighting a losing battle against gravity and fluid dynamics. This is the direct mechanical cause of so many familiar and frustrating symptoms. That stubborn, persistent chill in your toes that no number of socks can seem to vanquish. The stubborn puffiness in your ankles and feet that worsens as the day goes on. And most dangerously, the increased risk of blood pooling, a condition known as venous stasis, which can lead to the formation of life-threatening blood clots or deep vein thrombosis. This is where the simple, almost laughably easy, seated foot pump comes to the rescue. This gentle, rhythmic movement is one of the most profoundly effective exercises for cardiovascular health, precisely because it perfectly mimics the pumping action of walking without placing a single ounce of compressive stress on your delicate knees, your weary hips, or your aching back. While sitting comfortably in your favorite chair, whether you're absorbed in a book, watching television, enjoying a meal with family, or even talking on the phone, you can awaken this dormant second heart and put it to work. Simply sit tall, creating space in your abdomen and chest, with your feet resting flat on the floor. First, lift your heels as high as you comfortably can while keeping the balls of your feet and your toes firmly planted. Hold this position for a moment and consciously feel that gentle, reassuring tightening in your calf muscles. Then, slowly and smoothly, lower your heels back to the floor and in the second part of the movement, lift your toes toward the sky, feeling a gentle stretch along your shins. That's it. This tiny two-part rhythmic motion is a giant leap for your circulation. For Harold, a 78-year-old retired postal worker from Columbus, Ohio, this simple movement was nothing short of a revelation. Following a knee replacement, his doctors relentlessly told him to walk more to prevent clots and improve his heart health. But the persistent dizziness from his blood pressure medication and the sharp pain in his other arthritic knee made every step an ordeal. He felt helpless, trapped in a paradox where the cure felt worse than the disease. He felt like a failure until a visiting physical therapist showed him the seated pump. Skeptical but desperate, he began doing it for 5 minutes every hour while watching his beloved old westerns. Within 2 weeks, the transformation was undeniable. The chronic painful swelling in his legs had vanished, his energy levels surged in the afternoons instead of plummeting, and for the first time in years, he felt like an active participant in his own health, not just a passive victim of his body's limitations. Building strength from the wall. The very word push-up often conjures imposing and for many discouraging images of grueling gym sessions, military-style training, and a level of physical exertion that feels firmly relegated to the past. It's a word associated with sweat, strain, and the potential for injury, something seemingly left behind in the vigor of youth. But what if one of the most powerful, safest, and most accessible tools for strengthening your upper body, improving your posture, and supporting your heart was waiting for you in your own hallway, your kitchen, or your bedroom? Wall push-ups are a game-changing exercise that requires absolutely no special equipment, no need for getting down on the floor and back up again, and virtually no risk of strain or injury when performed correctly. They offer a unique and profound benefit that walking, for all its merits, simply can't touch. They systematically strengthen your chest muscles, the pectorals, your shoulder muscles, the deltoids, and your core stabilizing muscles, the very anatomical scaffolding that supports your heart and lungs. A strong, open chest and stable shoulders are not just for show. They are fundamental to healthy physiological function. As we age, we have a natural tendency to stoop forward, a posture that compresses the chest cavity, restricts the diaphragm's movement, and limits the lungs' ability to expand fully. This, in turn, forces the heart to beat faster and work harder to circulate oxygenated blood. When you perform a slow, controlled wall push-up, you are not just building muscle in the conventional sense. You are actively improving blood flow to your entire upper torso, an area that often becomes tight, stagnant, and neglected with age, each gentle, deliberate. Repetition helps your heart pump blood more efficiently throughout your upper body and strengthens the crucial muscles involved in deep, healthy breathing. To begin this empowering movement, stand a comfortable distance away from a sturdy, clear wall, roughly 2 feet, though this can be adjusted based on your comfort and strength. Place your hands flat against the wall, slightly wider than your shoulders, at about shoulder height. Keep your body in a straight line from your head to your heels, engaging your abdominal muscles to prevent your back from swaying. Slowly bend your elbows, allowing your chest and head to move gracefully toward the wall, inhaling as you go. Pause for a moment, then gently and powerfully push back to the starting position, exhaling as you exert the effort. Even 10 slow, mindful repetitions can feel like a full-body awakening, sending a pleasant wave of warmth and invigorating energy through your arms, chest, and back. Eleanor, an 82-year-old former librarian from Boise, Idaho, felt her world had become small and fragile after a bout of pneumonia left her feeling weak and breathless. She started with just 5 wall push-ups each morning, her hands placed on her kitchen counter for extra stability. "I thought my body was just too old for this sort of thing," she later shared with her daughter, a tear of gratitude in her eye. But I soon realized it wasn't old. It was just waiting for permission to be strong again. I had forgotten what it felt like to have power in my own arms. In that simple daily act of leaning on a wall, she found that it was her own body that had her back, lifting both a literal and a figurative weight from her chest and her spirit. She was no longer just a frail old woman. She was a woman rebuilding her own strength, one gentle push at a time. Svatboa, the gentle current of seated leg lifts. If you constantly battle with legs that feel heavy, leaden, and lifeless, or if you struggle with feet that never seem to get warm, no matter how many layers of socks you wear, the seated leg lift may feel like a small, private miracle. This incredibly simple yet potent movement is a direct command to your body's largest and most powerful muscle groups: the quadriceps at the front of your thighs, the glutes in your posterior, and the supporting muscles of your lower legs, to wake up from their slumber and get to work. When these powerful muscles are called upon to engage, even in a gentle, controlled manner, they create an immediate and significant demand for a fresh supply of oxygen-rich blood. This demand initiates a powerful circulatory current that actively draws blood flow down into your lower extremities and, just as importantly, helps pump the used, deoxygenated blood back up to the heart, easing the relentless, uphill battle against gravity that your cardiovascular system wages every single second of the day. This is not just about muscle toning. It is about actively managing the fluid dynamics within your own body to reduce swelling, improve tissue health, and lower the strain on your heart. All you need to perform this transformative exercise is a sturdy, stable chair and 5 minutes of your time. Begin by sitting up straight and tall, as if a string were gently pulling the crown of your head toward the ceiling. Pull your shoulders back and down, away from your ears, a posture that immediately opens up your chest and allows for deeper, more efficient breathing. Place your feet flat on the floor, keeping your back straight and your core engaged. Focus on one leg. Slowly and with complete control, lift that foot just a few inches off the floor while keeping the leg as straight as possible. Hold it there for a count of 3 to 5 seconds, consciously feeling the muscles in your thigh tighten and engage. Then, just as slowly, gently lower it back down to the starting position and switch to the other leg. With each deliberate lift, you are doing far more than just strengthening your legs. You are sending a clear physiological signal to your heart that it doesn't have to work so hard on its own. You are becoming an active partner in your own circulation. As weeks of this consistent practice pass, you may notice tangible results like a lower resting heart rate or improved stamina when you do walk. But there is a hidden mental and emotional benefit that is just as powerful. With every controlled, mindful lift, you are sending a clear, defiant message to your brain. I am still in charge of this body. I am not helpless. I can still generate strength. Walter, 79, a retired high school history teacher from Des Moines, Iowa, began doing seated leg lifts during the television commercials of his favorite evening news program. For a while there, I stopped feeling like I was just stuck in this chair waiting for the day to end, he said. With each little lift, as silly as it sounds, I felt a little more alive, a little more like my old self. True progress isn't always measured in miles walked or mountains climbed. Sometimes, the most meaningful progress is found in the quiet, determined, and repeated act of raising a foot against the pull of gravity and reclaiming your strength right where you are. Ambobi, the surprising strength in your hands. In our collective quest for heart health, our attention is almost invariably drawn to the big muscles and the big movements, the legs that carry us, the cardiovascular endurance for walking or running, the core strength for lifting. But one of the most potent, scientifically backed, and surprisingly effective tools for protecting your heart and managing your blood pressure can be held, quite literally, in the palm of your hand. Your grip strength is far more than just a measure of hand and forearm power. It is now widely recognized by researchers and clinicians as a powerful and reliable indicator of your overall neuromuscular health, and remarkably, a strong predictor of longevity and cardiovascular well-being. A host of large-scale epidemiological studies have discovered a direct and consistent correlation between a strong grip and a long, independent life, with a lower risk of heart attack and stroke. When our grip strength begins to fade, it often serves as an early warning signal of a more systemic decline in overall muscle mass and strength, a condition known as sarcopenia, which in turn affects our balance, our confidence, and our ability to perform the essential tasks of daily living. Intentional hand grip squeezes, a form of isometric exercise, can quietly and effectively train your heart, help lower your systemic blood pressure, and fortify the health and elasticity of your blood vessels, all without you ever needing to leave your chair or break a sweat. The mechanism behind this is fascinating. When you squeeze a small soft ball, a piece of therapeutic putty, or even just your own fist and then release, you are performing a miniature session of what is known as ischemic preconditioning. The squeeze temporarily restricts blood flow into your hand and forearm. Upon release, the blood rushes back in. This sudden surge of blood flow creates a force against the inner walls of your arteries called shear stress. This stress stimulates the endothelial cells lining the arteries to produce and release nitric oxide, a powerful molecule that signals the surrounding muscle of the artery walls to relax and widen. This vasodilation, when practiced regularly, can lead to a sustained and clinically significant lowering of systolic blood pressure. Many cardiologists now recommend this simple practice, especially for individuals for whom more intense aerobic exercise is not a safe or viable option. Ruth, a vibrant 80-year-old grandmother and avid gardener from Charleston, South Carolina, carried a small yellow stress ball with her everywhere she went. 3 squeezes when I sit down, 3 squeezes when I stand up, she would say with a smile. It became a small, comforting ritual throughout her day. To her profound surprise, she not only felt her hands and forearms grow stronger, making her gardening tasks easier, but she also noticed more sustained energy throughout the day and a steadier, calmer heartbeat, which was later confirmed by a noticeable drop in her blood pressure readings at her doctor's office. This exercise requires no balance, no back strength, no special coordination, and no expensive equipment. Each squeeze is a small, tangible victory for your health that you can literally hold onto, a quiet but powerful way to take control of your cardiovascular destiny. The bar is the foundation of independence. You do not need to run marathons, join a high-intensity fitness class, or spend countless hours at a gymnasium to keep your heart young, your blood flowing strong, and your body capable. Sometimes the most profound and lasting changes to our health and well-being begin with the smallest, quietest, and most deliberate of movements. The seated, straight leg hold is deceptively simple in its execution, yet it stands as one of the single most effective exercises for anyone over the age of 70 who is looking to dramatically improve their circulation and, critically, build the foundational lower body strength necessary for a life of continued independence. The ability to stand up from a chair without assistance, to navigate stairs safely, and to maintain balance while walking are not luxuries. They are the very pillars of self-sufficiency. When we sit for long, uninterrupted periods, an unavoidable reality for many, blood inevitably and naturally pools in the large veins of our legs, a phenomenon that creates what is known as venous pressure. This pooling of stagnant, deoxygenated blood forces the heart to pump harder and harder just to maintain normal circulatory flow, increasing the long-term risk of chronic swelling, edema, high blood pressure, and even the formation of dangerous blood clots. The seated straight leg hold acts as a gentle yet incredibly powerful internal pump for the entire lower body, directly counteracting these effects. By simply sitting upright in a firm chair, perhaps near the edge for better range of motion, extending one leg straight out in front of you and holding it there for just a few seconds, you engage your quadriceps, the large muscles at the front of your thigh, in a powerful isometric contraction. This sustained tension squeezes the deep veins within the muscle, much like wringing out a sponge, and forcefully propels stagnant blood back up toward your heart. This simple act immediately improves oxygen delivery throughout your body and reduces the overall strain on your cardiovascular system. After a mild stroke left him feeling defeated and physically unreliable, Frank, a